The vastness of space had always been a testing ground for the great powers of the galaxy, but none were as feared and respected as the Empire. For centuries, the Empire had ruled through strength, discipline, and the legendary skill of their warriors. These warriors were not only soldiers, they were symbols of absolute power and unchallenged authority. The Empire's pride, its finest fighters, were considered invincible. When word spread that humanity had begun to colonize worlds on the fringes of known space, the Empire viewed it as nothing more than a minor irritation, a young species stumbling into the cosmic arena far too soon. They sent their elite warriors with orders to quash the humans quickly, to remind them of the Empire's dominance. Admiral Soren of the Empire watched the holographic map flickering before him, showing the human colonies clustered like stubborn sparks on the galactic frontier. Our finest have never failed, he said, voice calm, but edged with confidence. Send the strike force. Let them learn why the Empire's warriors are unmatched. The strike force assembled aboard their flagship, the Vindicator, a sleek warship bristling with weapons and advanced technology. Commander Call, the leader of the strike force, was the epitome of Empire discipline, a warrior forged through endless drills and battles. His reputation a tale told with awe. At fear across the stars, we move swiftly, Call told his officers. This rebellion ends before it truly begins. We will show these humans their place. Meanwhile, humanity's colonies thrive not because of raw strength or overwhelming firepower, but because of their adaptability, innovation, and, above all, their spirit. On the human colony of Horizon, Captain Lara Reyes stood overlooking a training ground where soldiers practice maneuvers. Under a blazing sun, reports say the Empire's finest are on their way. Lara said quietly to her second-in-command, Lieutenant Jonah Price. Jonah smirked. Let them come. They don't know what they're walking into. Lara nodded, her eyes sharp. We won't just fight. We'll make them rethink everything they believe about us, the humans prepared. Not with grand displays of power, but with calculated readiness. Their tactics emphasized flexibility, hit-and-run strikes, using terrain and technology to their advantage. The soldiers trained on modular weapons that adapted to every encounter, armor that could shift its properties depending on the threat, and AI systems that helped anticipate enemy movements. When the Vindicator entered orbit over Horizon, the Empire's warriors expected submission. What they found instead was a colony bristling with defenses. That seemed almost alive. Autonomous drones patrolled the skies, and the terrain was dotted with camouflaged outposts and hidden traps. Call's strike force deployed, confident and composed. The first clash was brutal, but chaotic. The humans fought with an unpredictability that unsettled even the most seasoned warriors. They didn't just hold their ground, they countered, exploiting weaknesses, turning the landscape against the invaders. Call's calm crackled. They are different, he admitted, voice tight. Their tactics are unconventional, but effective. We must adapt. But the humans weren't merely reacting, they were evolving in real time. Captain Reyes directed her forces with a calm ferocity, rallying her troops through every setback. Remember, they expect fear and hesitation. Give them none, she ordered. The battle stretched into hours, each side testing the other's limits. The Empire's warriors found themselves outmaneuvered in unfamiliar terrain. Their disciplined formations faltered against the humans' flexible strikes and relentless drive. Back on the flagship, Admiral Soren's confident smile faded as reports came in. These humans, they are not the easy prey we anticipated. On Horizon, the human defenders didn't just survive, they began to turn the tide. The Empire's pride, the finest warriors, encountered a force they had not reckoned with, laughter in the face of danger, a refusal to back down, and the clever use of every advantage at hand. As night fell over Horizon, the glow of distant battles illuminated the sky. The Empire's warriors, for the first time, faced a question they had never asked themselves. Could humanity truly be more than just a rising star? Could they be the storm that changed the balance of power forever? Captain, Lara Reyes smiled grimly. Let them come, she whispered. We're ready. The Empire's elite strike force had arrived with the certainty of conquest. Their warriors were trained from birth in the art of war, disciplined, ruthless, and precise. Yet from the moment they set foot on Horizon, the human colony, that certainty began to crack. Commander Call paced the command tent, his expression tight as reports streamed in. They don't fight like any enemy we faced, he said, frustration edging his voice. Hit-and-run attacks, ambushes from every angle. Their tactics are unpredictable, almost chaotic. His second-in-command, Lieutenant Sarek, frowned. "It's almost as if they know our strategy before we make it." Call clenched his fists. "They adapt faster than they should, and they're not afraid." Out in the field, the human defenders moved like shadows, striking swiftly from concealed positions and disappearing before the Empire's warriors could respond. Captain Lara Reyes led a squad through a dense forest, communicating silently through hand signals. Her team set a series of small explosive charges along the narrow pass, then melted into the trees. Minutes later, the Empire's warriors marched confidently down the pass, unaware of the traps waiting beneath their feet when the explosives detonated. Chaos erupted. Soldiers were thrown from formation, caught off guard by the sudden assault. The humans pressed their advantage, harassing the enemy relentlessly. Elsewhere, human engineers released swarms of small drones, buzzing like angry hornets. The drones disabled communication arrays and disrupted enemy targeting systems, forcing the warriors to fight blindly. Call's forces were masters of order and discipline. But here, order dissolved into confusion. The humans' unpredictability frustrated every tactic, forcing the Empire's warriors into defensive postures. In a makeshift command center, Captain Reyes studied a holomap dotted with blinking red markers enemy movements. At weak points, they expect us to fall into traps, she said quietly. We won't. Every move we make will force them to react, never the other way around. Her soldiers admired her calm in the storm. Private Yellen, barely out of training, marveled at how she turned the battle into a game of wits. She sees the battlefield like a chessboard. He told a comrade, "We're not just fighting. We're winning before they even know it." News of the humans' tactics spread quickly through the ranks of the Empire. Warriors whispered stories of battles where small groups of humans dismantled entire squads, where terrain was weaponized and every moment held a new threat. Back on the Vindicator, Admiral Soren's patience wore thin. "This isn't the swift victory we expected," he snapped during a briefing. "We cannot allow these humans to drag us into a war of attrition." Call nodded. "We must break their will, but their resilience is unlike anything I've seen. They fight with laughter, with defiance. It unnerves our troops." The Empire's finest warriors have faced countless enemies and emerged victorious. But humanity was different not only in their tactics, but in their spirit. The humans seemed to thrive on adversity, their morale unbreakable. During a fierce skirmish near a river valley, a squad led by Lieutenant Sarek found themselves surrounded. Human fighters closed in from all sides, their movements fluid and coordinated. Instead of despair, Sarek's warriors felt a strange sensation, respect mingled with fear. One human soldier, barely more than a teenager, stepped forward with a grin. "You came expecting an easy fight," he said, voice steady. "You'll leave wondering who you fought." The Empire's warriors fought hard, but the tide was shifting. The humans' knowledge of the terrain, their use of technology and surprise, and their relentless courage made every battle a new challenge. That night, as fires burned on the horizon, Commander Cole looked out over the battlefield. He no longer saw easy conquest, he saw a force that could not be ignored or underestimated. On the human side, Captain Reyes gathered her troops beneath the star-studded sky. "We've made them question their certainty," she said. "That doubt will grow. Tomorrow, we press harder, because when they think we're at our weakest, that's when we strike." The Empire's finest warriors had come to crush humanity. Instead, they found themselves caught in a storm of laughter, courage, a cunning one that would change the course of battle and the fate of the galaxy. The fires from the battlefield still burned bright as word of humanity's unexpected resistance spread across the stars. The Empire's finest warriors had come as conquerors, but what they found was something far different. A people who refused to bow, who met overwhelming force with laughter and fierce determination. News networks throughout human space broadcast stories of the battles on Horizon and beyond. Tales of small human squads outsmarting entire enemy patrols became legend overnight. Each account told of bravery that defied logic. A handful of humans standing their ground against squads twice their size, turning traps and terrain into weapons. Lieutenant Jonah Price sat in a crowded mess hall, surrounded by eager soldiers hanging on every word of a veteran recounting a recent battle. "We were outnumbered 3-1, the veteran said, voice steady but animated. "They thought they had us pinned, but we used the forest to vanish like ghosts, then struck when they least expected. By the time they realized, half their squad was gone. They laughed, even as they fought, A young recruit leaned forward. How do they do it? How do they keep fighting like that? Jonah smiled. Because they believe in something bigger than themselves, in hope, in each other. Across the galaxy, these stories reached unexpected ears. Smaller factions and independent systems began to take notice, questioning the Empire's dominance. If humans once considered weak and disorganized could stand toe-to-toe with the Empire's elite, what did that mean for the future? On the Empire's flagship, the Vindicator, Admiral Soren reviewed incoming intelligence reports. The mood among his officers was grim. These humans are not simply soldiers, he said. They are a force fueled by something we do not understand. Commander Call nodded, exhaustion shadowing his features. Their unpredictability comes from more than tactics. It's their spirit. They fight with a fire we cannot extinguish. Back on Horizon, Captain Lara Reyes moved through her troops with quiet purpose. She knew the importance of morale, especially now as the Empire's forces regrouped to plan their next assault. In a briefing room, she addressed her officers. Our strength isn't just weapons or numbers, she said. It's our heart. Every story told of our defiance weakens their resolve and strengthens ours. We carry the hopes of everyone who believes freedom is worth fighting for. Lieutenant Kara Nguyen, a sharp and resourceful officer, stepped forward. We must use these stories, share them, let our enemies hear our laughter, our courage. Let them know they face not just soldiers, but a people united throughout human colonies. Messages of solidarity and encouragement were broadcast. Soldiers sent recordings of their experiences, tales of victory and loss, of humor in the darkest hours, and the unbreakable bonds forged in battle. One such story told of Private Yelen, who, cornered and outnumbered, used a jury-rigged device to create a blinding light, buying precious seconds for his squad to escape. When asked why he risked everything, he simply said, because giving up was never an option. The galaxy watched as humanity's reputation grew not for sheer power, but for heart, ingenuity, and an unyielding will die in the halls of the Empire's leadership. This growing legend sparked fear. Some saw it as a threat to the established order, others dismissed it as a temporary annoyance. But even the most hardened generals could not ignore the truth. The tide was turning. Commander Call faced his officers. We must find a way to break their spirit, he said, because their strength lies in their defiance. Without it, they are just another enemy to conquer. But as the battle-weary warriors pondered their next move, humanity prepared for what lay ahead with stories fueling their resolve, and laughter echoing in the face of the coming storm. Captain Reyes looked out over the horizon, determination blazing in her eyes. They sent their finest, she said softly. They'll learn that fighting humans isn't just about skill or weapons. It's about standing tall when the whole galaxy expects you to fall. And with that, the human spirit blazed brighter than ever, ready to turn the tide in ways the Empire had never imagined. The clash between humanity and the Empire had become more than a test of strength. It was now a contest of innovation and adaptability. The humans, often underestimated for their relative youth among galactic powers, revealed technologies that challenged the Empire's assumptions and reshaped the battlefield. On Horizon, Captain Lara Reyes stood in the research and development wing of the colony's defense center. Surrounding her were engineers and scientists fine-tuning the latest equipment, modular weapons that could shift from sniper rifles to rapid-fire blasters within moments, adaptive armor that changed its density and shape based on incoming fire, and AI support systems that analyzed enemy tactics in real time. Lieutenant Kara Nguyen ran a simulation on a holoscreen. Our new adaptive shields are holding against the Empire's plasma rounds better than we expected, she reported. The armor can redistribute energy, making it almost impossible to predict weak points. Lara nodded, her gaze sharp. We need to stay one step ahead. Their warriors are skilled, but they're rigid in their tactics. Our technology gives us the edge if we use it wisely. Meanwhile, across the battlefield, Empire warriors found their advanced weapons and training challenged like never before. Their plasma rifles, once feared for their precision and power, were now met with energy shields that absorbed and redirected the blasts. The adaptive armor of human soldiers shifted to blunt impacts and dissipate energy, reducing casualties. Commander Call observed from his command ship, frustration mounting. Their tech is evolving in real time, he muttered. We are fighting ghost soldiers who change before we can adapt. The humans didn't just innovate for defense. They developed AI-driven drones that scouted enemy formations, feeding live data back to human commanders. This intelligence allowed for split-second tactical shifts, turning what should have been predictable battles into chaotic engagements. Where the Empire's warriors struggled to keep pace, one battle near the canyon planet of Verda became a showcase for human ingenuity. The Empire's elite landed expecting an easy assault on a key supply depot. Instead, they were met by a coordinated defense where modular weapons switched roles mid-fight. Drones disrupted their communications and adaptive armor shrugged off their initial volleys. Captain Reyes led the assault team personally, directing a fluid attack that exploited every weakness revealed by their AI support. Focus fire on their command units, she ordered. Keep moving. Don't give them a chance to regroup. Empire warriors found themselves overwhelmed not just by numbers, but by the speed of human innovation. Every tactic they tried was countered by technology designed to adapt on the fly. Despite their frustration, the Empire's warriors respected their adversaries. Lieutenant Sarek, once dismissive of humans as disorganized fighters, now recognized their skill. They're not just soldiers, he admitted to a comrade, they're engineers and tacticians, combined with a spirit that refuses to break. Back on Horizon, engineers worked late into the night, pushing the boundaries of what their technology could do. Lara walked among them, offering encouragement and insight. This is more than machines, she said. It's our will to survive, our refusal to be conquered. The Empire's command grew desperate. They deployed heavier weapons and experimental tactics, but human innovation kept pace. Even when faced with new threats, human technology adapted, evolving defenses and attacks that turned the battlefield into a constantly shifting maze. In one daring maneuver, humans used their AI systems to predict an Empire ambush hours before it happened, setting up a counterattack that caught the Empire's warriors off guard and forced a retreat. The message was clear. Humanity would not only survive, they would innovate, evolve, and triumph. As Captain Reyes prepared her forces for the next encounter, she knew the battle was far from over. The Empire's finest sent us their best, she said, but we've shown them that human ingenuity and spirit are forces no army can ignore. And with every new innovation, every daring tactic, humanity's laughter echoed across the stars, unshaken, unyielding, and unstoppable. The battlefield that once seemed firmly under the Empire's control began to show signs of strain. The elite warriors, proud and confident, found their ranks thinning and morale wavering in ways no one had predicted. Humanity's unexpected resilience and fierce counterattacks were cracking the Empire's ironclad image. Commander Cole stared at the holo map aboard the Vindicator. The once solid red zones marking Empire control now shrinking, dotted with flashing warning signals. This isn't just resistance, he said grimly to his officers. It's a breakdown in our strategy. Reports of failed assaults and retreating squads filled the communications channels. The humans fought with a mix of cunning and courage that sapped the strength of the Empire's finest. In one recent engagement near the mining outpost of Tauros 4, a squad led by Lieutenant Sarek found themselves caught in a coordinated trap. Human forces, using intelligence gathered from hacked Empire transmissions, anticipated their moves and set ambushes that tore through the formation. Sarek barely escaped with his life. As he regrouped with his remaining warriors, he realized something unsettling. They're not just fighting, he admitted, they're breaking us. On Horizon, Captain Lara Reyes received upgrades with a steady calm that masked the weight of their significance. The humans had not just survived the Empire's onslaught, they had begun to turn it. Every victory is a crack in their armor, she told her officers during a strategy meeting. We chip away until their confidence crumbles. The human forces launched a series of calculated strikes against supply lines and communication hubs, targeting the Empire's ability to coordinate. Each successful mission deepened the Empire's disarray. Private Yelen, who had earned respect for his quick thinking and bravery, led a small team to sabotage an Empire supply convoy. If they can't supply their warriors, he explained, their might falls apart. Meanwhile, the Empire's high command scrambled to contain the damage. Admiral Soren convened an emergency council, frustration clear in his tone. We face not only a stronger enemy, but one that outhinks us. We must adapt or lose everything. Call, once proud and unshakable, now carried the burden of doubt. Their spirit is our enemy, he confessed. Their courage turns our strength into weakness. In the field, cracks appeared not just in the Empire's defenses, but in its warriors' resolve. Exhaustion, fear, and frustration began to take root. Some began questioning the mission, the cause, and even their own training. But the humans sensed the shift and pressed harder. Their strategy wasn't just physical, it was psychological. They targeted the nerves of their enemy using guerrilla tactics, misinformation, and relentless pressure on Tau Rose 4. Captain Reyes led a surprise dawn raid that dismantled an Empire command post. The attackers used terrain knowledge and tech to outflank and confuse the enemy. When the dust settled, the Empire's banner lay in ruins. Let them see their invincibility shatter. Reyes declared, "The Empire's finest are not gods. They bleed, they break, and they fall." Stories of Empire warriors captured or surrendering spread like wildfire. The galaxy watched in disbelief as the once unstoppable force found itself on the defensive. Even within the Empire's ranks, whispers of doubt grew louder. Could humanity's defiance and determination truly undo centuries of dominance? But humanity didn't stop at breaking the enemy's spirit. They used the cracks to build something stronger, a coalition of fighters and allies bound by shared hope and unyielding will. Captain Reyes looked out over the battlefield. Knowing the fight was far from over, the cracks are just the beginning. She said quietly, "From them, we'll build our victory." The Empire's finest had arrived expecting to conquer. Instead, they faced a rising storm, one that would not be stopped until the tide had turned forever. The prolonged conflict on Horizon and its neighboring systems had begun to catch the attention of forces long content to stay hidden in the shadows of the galaxy, while the Empire's finest warriors struggled against humanity's fierce resistance. Other players watched, waited, and contemplated their own moves. Captain Lara Reyes had long suspected that the humans would need more than courage and technology to survive this war. Intelligence reports hinted at possible allies, factions disillusioned with the Empire's reign. Watching humanity's fight as a spark of hope. One cold evening, deep within a secluded asteroid base, Reyes met with emissaries from the Cavarna, reclusive warrior clan known for their stealth and tactical genius. Their leader, a tall figure cloaked in muted armor, regarded her quietly. "Your fight shakes the Empire," he said. "We have long sought a chance to challenge their dominance. Now, we join you." Reyes nodded, recognizing the weight of this alliance. The Cavarna's skills in guerrilla warfare and sabotage complemented the humans' adaptability perfectly. Their knowledge of the Empire's secrets and covert networks promised to tip the scales further. Meanwhile, across the sector, the Vraxi, an advanced species known for their mastery of energy manipulation, sent their own envoy. The Vraxi had remained neutral, but reports of humanity's innovation intrigued them. "Your spirit is unlike any we have seen," their envoy explained. "Together, our strengths can bring balance to this war." With each new ally, humanity's coalition grew stronger, and so did the threat it posed to the Empire. Commander Call watched these developments with growing alarm. "We face not just humans, but an alliance that undermines everything we built," he warned. "This war will not be won by force alone." Admiral Soren's resolve hardened. "Then we must strike faster and harder before the coalition solidifies. Delay only strengthens our enemies." On Horizon, Captain Reyes coordinated joint operations between human forces and their new allies. The Cavarn led stealth raids behind enemy lines, dismantling supply depots and communication rays. The Vraxi deployed energy weapons that disabled the Empire's advanced war machines, without destroying infrastructure, preserving the battlefield for human advancement. In one daring mission, a combined team infiltrated an Empire fortress to retrieve critical intelligence. The operation, planned with precision and executed with flawless coordination, left the Empire scrambling for answers. Private Yelen, now a seasoned soldier, marveled at the transformation. "We're no longer just fighting for survival," he said. "We're building something greater, an alliance that challenges the galaxy's old order." The Empire responded by intensifying their efforts to break the coalition. They launched propaganda campaigns aimed at sowing distrust among the allies and deployed elite assassins to disrupt key leaders. But humanity and its allies remained steadfast. Trust was forged through shared battles and mutual respect. The human spirit inspired others, spreading hope where despair once lingered. In a rare moment of quiet, Captain Reyes reflected on the journey. "We faced the Empire's finest and found our strength," she said softly. "Now, with allies at our side, we are unstoppable." Yet, the war was far from over. The Empire's desperation meant their next move would be ruthless and unrelenting. As the stars flickered above Horizon, the coalition prepared for what could be the decisive battle, the moment when the tide would either turn in their favor or sweep them away forever. The uneasy quiet before the storm settled over Horizon's battered plains. The Coalition forces humans, Kavarn, Vraxi, and others had grown confident, their victories stacking up like stones in a fortress. But the Empire was far from defeated. In the depths of their warship, the Vindicator, Admiral Soren plotted a devastating counterstrike designed to crush the rebellion in a single blow. We have underestimated their resolve and their alliances, Soren admitted to Commander Call during a tense war council. But now we will remind them why the Empire reigns supreme. We will show them the true cost of defiance. The plan was ruthless in its precision. A coordinated assault would target the Coalition's communication network, supply lines, and command centers, simultaneously striking where the enemy was most vulnerable. The Empire's finest warriors were to lead the charge, their skills sharpened by desperation and pride. Captain Lara Reyes received word of the impending assault hours before it began. She gathered her commanders beneath the shelter of a shattered command post, the glow of distant explosions lighting their determined faces. They think they can break us with one strike, Reyes said, voice steady but fierce. But we've faced worse and come back stronger. We fight not just with weapons, but with our will. Tonight, we stand together, and we do not fall, as night cloaked the battlefield. The Empire's forces advanced with ruthless efficiency. Plasma cannons roared, lighting up the sky with deadly fire. Elite warriors moved like shadows, breaching defenses and cutting through lines. But the Coalition was ready. Kavarn warriors slipped through enemy ranks, their silent blades and cunning traps turning the assault into a nightmare. Vraxi energy shields absorbed devastating barrages, protecting human soldiers who counterattacked with relentless fury. Lieutenant Kara Nguyen coordinated drone swarms that hacked into Empire systems mid-battle, turning the enemy's own technology against them. Keep the pressure, she commanded. Disrupt their command nodes. Without them, they're blind. In the chaos, Captain Reyes led a strike team to protect the Coalition's central command hub. Under heavy fire, they repelled waves of attackers, their coordinated defense a testament to human grit and teamwork. Amid the battle, a young Kavarn warrior named Selka faced down a group of Empire assassins intent on striking a critical engineer. With swift precision and unwavering focus, she eliminated the threat, saving vital resources that would keep the fight alive. The Empire's assault was ferocious, but it met with an unyielding wall of resistance each time the attackers pushed forward. The Coalition countered using terrain, technology, and tenacity to blunt the advance. Commander Call watched from his ship as the tide shifted. The Empire's finest were bleeding, their pride wounded. They are more than soldiers, he muttered. They are a storm we cannot calm. As dawn approached, the battlefield lay scarred and smoking, but the Coalition remained unbroken. The Empire's strike had failed to shatter their resolve. Captain Reyes surveyed the dawnlit horizon with a mixture of exhaustion and hope. They sent their best to crush us, she said softly, but we fought like humans, relentless, unpredictable, and united. The battle was far from over. But this night had proven something vital. The Empire's might could be challenged. Their finest could be beaten. The war had escalated to a new level. The stakes were higher, the losses heavier, but the Coalition's spirit burned brighter than ever. In the silence after the storm, a new certainty settled among the Defenders. Humanity and its allies would not just survive. They would win. The war that had raged across the stars reached its critical moment on the shattered world of Horizon. After months of brutal battles, unyielding resistance, and unexpected alliances, humanity and its Coalition stood on the brink of a decisive victory or a devastating loss. Captain Lara Reyes stood at the forefront of the assembled forces. Round her, humans, Kavarn, Vraxi, and other allies prepared for what could be the final battle to break the Empire's grip on this corner of the galaxy. We've come far, she addressed the troops, her voice carrying the weight of countless sacrifices. The Empire sent their finest warriors, expecting to conquer. Instead, they found a force they could neither break nor predict. The Coalition had grown stronger with every trial. Their technology continued to evolve, their tactics sharpened by experience, and their unity solidified through shared struggle. The Empire's might was vast, but the human spirit proved greater. Commander Call, aboard the Vindicator, watched the growing forces below with a mix of frustration and grudging respect. They fight with something we cannot understand, he admitted to Admiral Soren. Their unity is our weakness. Soren's face hardened. That we will crush that unity. Tonight, the Empire's reign ends here, or we fall with it. The final assault began under the eerie light of Horizon's twin moons. The Empire's forces launched a massive coordinated attack aimed at breaking the Coalition's lines and capturing key command points, but the Coalition was ready. Human soldiers, equipped with the latest adaptive armor and weapons, moved with precision and purpose. Kavarn warriors struck with silent lethality behind enemy lines. Vrax's energy field shielded entire battalions from devastating blasts. Captain Reyes led the charge, her squad weaving through the chaos with a blend of courage and cunning that inspired all who followed. In the heart of the battlefield, a fierce duel unfolded between Reyes and Commander Cult, leaders representing the clash of ideals and futures. Blades clashed, strategies collided, and determination burned bright in their eyes. As the battle raged, the Coalition's coordinated strikes began to dismantle the Empire's command infrastructure. Communications faltered, reinforcements slowed, and the once unbreakable Empire lines started to crumble. Private Yelen, leading the daring squad through enemy trenches, captured critical positions that turned the tide on key fronts for freedom. He shouted, rallying his team as they pushed forward. With every gain, the human laughter echoed louder, a sound that had become a symbol of hope and defiance across the galaxy. The Empire's warriors fought fiercely, unwilling to surrender, but the tide had turned. Their finest were no longer invincible gods, but mortal fighters facing a united, relentless force. As dawn broke over the battlefield, the last of the Empire's resistance collapsed. Captain Reyes and her allies stood victorious, their faces marked by exhaustion and triumph. In the quiet that followed, Lara looked to the horizon, knowing this victory was only the beginning of a new era. We fought not just for survival, she said softly. We fought for a future where all can stand free. The galaxy would remember the day the Empire sent its finest warriors, and humanity laughed, stood firm, and turned the tide of battle forever.